My name is Jun, and I'm an international student from China. In Chinese, Jun stands for king, an ambitious, brave, powerful, and independent man who has strong leadership skills. Now, you have begun to wonder why I was given such a masculine name. So, according to my family and their friends, I kept moving around in my mom's tummy when she was pregnant, which was painful for her. So everyone assumed that I would be a strong baby boy, especially my grandpa, who served in the army when he was young. My grandpa was a tough man, but also very gentle and loved to spoil me. He gave me the name that reflected a little bit of himself. He has integrity. My grandpa decided to give me the name Jun before I was born. So even though I was born as a girl, he decided to keep Jun as my name because regardless of gender, he hoped I could be an independent, brave, ambitious, and powerful person. The meaning of my name keeps motivating me to step into the unknown and fulfilling my grandpa's hopes. Growing up in a conservative family with a collectivist culture makes it difficult to step into the unknown because you're not encouraged to boast or to stand out, but instead, you're always encouraged to be a good family member, a good student in your class, and a good community member who always following the rules. But I'm very grateful that my parents raised me the same way because at least I have some small achievements in my 23-year-old life. My parents knew that I was brave and independent, so when I told them I want to move to another country to explore new things and pursue education, they were not surprised at all. Instead, they gave me a lot of unconditional love and support. With all the love and support, I moved to the United States alone when I was 16. I still remember that everything was confusing in the first couple months after I came to the United States. I could not tell the difference between British English and American English. So, in McDonald's, and I ended up getting a bag of chips from a kids meal, but I wanted French fries. On a random Saturday morning, I went to a Starbucks in the neighborhood, and there was a group of native speakers sitting next to me, and I could barely understand their conversation. I panicked. I started worrying about school and my future. In school, I noticed that I tend to spend a lot more time than other kids to finish reading an article or completing an assignment. In class, I did not dare to participate because I was worried about that people might judge me because of my accent. Even when I knew the answers, I did not dare to participate or raise my hand at all because I was so nervous. I cannot remember how many times I cried in my room at night. I did not let anyone know of my struggles and worry about me. I put on a brave face every day to conquer my fear, even when I'm not sure if I'm going to get my diploma and worry about my future. So, at this point, when I typed my name at the top of my essay, it reminded me of my grandpa's hope for me, which motivated me to keep going, not to give up. I received a high GPA, and I graduated from high school, but I knew there was more of the unknown that I need to conquer and explore. I set a goal to myself to speak English confidently one day and made a commitment to shift to US culture, to participate without fear or worry about my accent, even when I'm not sure my answers are correct. After graduating high school, I went to East LA College to continue my education. I was stereotyped as an Asian woman to major in business or mathematics. But I already knew what I want for the rest of my life since I was a kid. Many of my extended family work in law enforcement in China. combating crimes like drug trafficking, homicide, and burglary. I was always inspired by their willingness to risk their life to protect innocent people and combat crimes. So I declared my major in administration of justice. I was the only Asian in almost every administration of justice class. In my freshman year, I was so panicked when I hear the word presentation. I would need to practice over and over again, much like I did today. In my sophomore year, I learned one of the widely used policing philosophy in my administration of justice class, which is problem-oriented policing, created by Herman Goldstein in 1979. Later, the SARA model was created by Jun Li and William Spellman in 1987. There are total 4 stages of the SARA model. The first stage is scanning, which requires the law enforcement officers to identify a problem or crime in a specific neighborhood. The second stage of the SARA model is an analysis, which requires the law enforcement officers to think about the cause of this problem or crime and start to collect information or data to address the problem. The third stage is response. It requires the law enforcement officers to collect information and use the correct information and data to address this specific crime. The last stage of the SARA model is assessment, which requires the officers to evaluate the effectiveness of the response. I was completely inspired by problem-oriented policing and its SARA model. By following SARA, I started to scan my problem, and I realized that my problem is that I could not speak English confidently. Then I started to think about the cause of why I could not speak English confidently. Then I realized that it could be a lack of participation in a non-stressful environment, such as academic club. After that, I started to collect information and data and try to address this problem. And one day, I saw a flyer posted on campus by luck, and I decided to join the administration of Justice Club. In the administration of Justice Club, I'm the only Asian. On the club's annual election day, when the club director asked if there are any nominations for vice president, I hesitated. Not only because I barely talked to my peers, but also because I would be so nervous when I would need to speak English in front of so many people. What's more, other candidates already have peer nomination. But at this point, there's an idea floating in my mind. It is true that I'm not sure if I will be elected or not. But the only thing I'm 100% sure is that if I don't even give myself a chance, I will certainly not be elected. So I raise my hand and nominate myself. Immediately, the club director asked me to give a self-introduction and elaborate on the reason why people should vote for me as the vice president of the club. I panicked, not only because there wasn't enough time for me to prepare, but also because I did not expect there would be a presentation in front of so many people. But when I saw my name on the board under vice president candidate, it reminded me of my grandpa's hope for me. Ambitious, brave, independent, powerful. It somehow gave me power, and I knew I had to go for it. I took a deep breath. I walked to the stage, and I pretend I wasn't nervous at all, and then start to introduce myself and try to convince my peers to vote for me. I had completely no idea what I was talking about in that 3-minute presentation. But I knew I did it. Surprisingly, the majority of my peers voted for me, and I became the vice president of the administration of Justice Club at East LA College. Meanwhile, I became the first Asian leader of the club since its establishment back in 1999. This taught me that the more likely I try, the more likely I am to succeed. Back to the last stage of the SARA model, the last A, that stands for assessment, I reflect on my experience on public speaking. I feel more confident. And I believe the SARA model worked well on me because it taught me the more likely I try, the more chance I get to try new things. And it gave me the courage and confidence to ask professors questions and share my thoughts with my peers in class without worrying about my accent. And I will continually use problem-oriented policing and its SARA model to conquer my goals. Since then, I never stopped talking. I received my associate degree from East LA College, and I transferred to my dream university, California State University, Fullerton. At Cal State Fullerton, I was a peer mentor as an undergraduate student, which I was never thought about before. After I received my bachelor's degree, I continued to study criminology and criminal justice here at California State University, Long Beach. In my graduate cohort, I'm the only Asian, and I'm a teaching assistant and peer mentor, but I hope I'm not the last. At this point, I know I'm one step closer to make my dream come true, which is to become a criminologist. 7 months ago, when I saw the TEDxCSULB post on Instagram, I know it is my turn to inspire others by telling my story, so I applied immediately. Now, I can proudly tell my grandpa that, hey, thank you for giving me this name. Your little granddaughter is all grown up. As I stand here today to tell everyone my story, I'm ambitious, brave, independent, powerful, as you hoped. And I'm fulfilling your legacy. To international students, new immigrants, those who are struggling with the unknown, and those who are thinking about to move to another country to start a new life, but worry about language barriers, always remember your purpose. Follow your heart, because you are the only person who can be in charge of your destiny. And don't be afraid if you feel like you are the only person in your industry or field. Come back to your passion. Connect with your dreams and goals, and allow them to inspire you to achieve them. Asians are still underrepresented in the field of criminology and criminal justice. Today, I'm here to break these barriers. I still have a long way to go, but I'm here now. While I was not born as a king or a man, like the original meaning of my name, I'm still strong, ambitious, brave, independent, powerful, with leadership skills. So, if you don't know the meaning of your name, I invite you to be your own Jun. Trust me, if I can do it, you can do it too. Thank you. I appreciate your time.